I kind of miss this team song before we actually start all the brawl. Since it's been, a couple of weeks already, I'm glad to be back here with you, Queen. And this time, we're starting things off from the south side of Sanaska military base, headed over onto the north, which I would think it's pretty rather fair for many of all these teams out there, except for those who love to drop inside of South George or even North George. So they definitely need to extend it for a little tad bit. The Vampire Esports, they're wasting no time. They're moving directly to the island.
But I'm curious if Nepex and Tribe RMAC will be performing for today's matches. And again, I'm still on a high with what happened yesterday. So I'm really curious if the energy is going to be replicated back here. But anyway, yeah, flight path, it's a little bit onto the right side. It's northbound. And we can see APG taking in some position now inside the military base. We got another team dropping around Novo. We got most of the teams probably dropping around the middle part, but let's see who's going to be taking space around north side area of the map.
Yeah, true enough. And, perhaps you could feel us up on what really went on yesterday's PNNC. I'm pretty sure it was pretty high on what went down.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody was kind of expecting either DRS or maybe even Tribe RMAC getting the crown, or maybe both of them. But, after a whole tug of war since the playoffs and the grand finals on who gets to sit at the top spot, it was then Bloods officials and Nepex that took the crown of PMNC. So I just know that there are a lot of hearts broken right now for Tribe RMAC and DRS. But in the meantime, we're looking at the kill feed, and it looks like Rosemary took a hit someplace, and now he is about to go out of the game. So I guess he's the first player to be taken out by Sem9 Amaza.
And look at the start coming in from what I believe to be 4 tribes. They're starting with only 3 players, it seems. So it's definitely interesting on what they're setting up with. Amazal now to start things off pretty much cleanly, picking one off inside the prison, and will secure plenty of ground around the fields over on the eastern corner. And Sem9 still looking for a whole lot more with Toadot members. Absolutely isolated. So this is Cleon, who's been playing in Malaysia for quite some time now. He's transferred from one of the teams to the TX, and that made absolutely crucial coming from Cleon, but the jump shot will be just about enough for Satria to eventually put him to sleep.
That was nasty. Okay, Todak, what are you going to do? Are you going to go for that rebut? We can see that Satra is going in for that exchange. Unfortunately, he was using a shotgun, so that's a little bit long range for anyone to receive any damage. Got 9, about to pick up a nade here, changes his mind, goes in for the spray, now goes in for another charge. We got 2 players knocked down on the side of Sem9. We can still see this trade-off happen inside this compound. 9 looking to flush them out, but let's see if they can actually succeed. Lion falls down hard, and it looks like Sem9 is about to pop out.
Wow, it was great retaliation coming in from the side of Thodal, and it really seemed like Sem9 was the one that started it all, and they will be the one that gets finished instead. This firepower coming in from Toda is absolutely lethal, but who's more lethal? For Esports, they're bringing on the weakened side of Toda, and it's going to be a quick shot from Sky that nails Franchisi down on the ground, and it's once again coming with flank. Haidami will be able to secure each and every one of it. Only 2 members left. Can he hold strong? He's just joined the team over the offseason. Sky goes in to push, and now perfectly caught out by Kenny.
What an opening we are witnessing right now for the tournament. We got Haidami sealing the deal. 5 elimination points in the back for Horror Esports, and they still have a chance to pick up their teammate. And now Sky definitely will recover, and Horror Esports will be playing towards the latter stages of this match.
It's just so explosive. We just got just non-stop action the moment that we started off the game. It started with the 2 Malaysian sides, and then after that, Horror just wasted no time. And just like that, they got themselves a total of 5 points to kick things off. Horror is off to a great start.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I think they've had quite a very good breakfast, maybe even lunch. You know, they're in the mood to get those numbers, which is of course a happy news. You know, for all the fans out there or down there in the comment section. But anyway, okay, getting back into the action over here, we got Boom Esports getting inside the safe zone, coming from the eastern side. They're pretty close with another team actually over to their left, but most of the teams like Hora and even Celcom DJ Alliance, even RQ are still outside of the zone. But it's going to be an interesting rotation for APG because they will have to deal with the fourth thrives, you know, because they are on the other side of the bridge in the main peninsula. So that's going to be a fight there.
Yeah, we definitely will have to see if there's going to be those kind of altercations. Meanwhile, Team 52, this is a team that I'm intrigued about because I mentioned about Helton previously being a huge part of Celcom DJ Alliance, or should I say even the previous iteration when they were called Farang Legends. That's where they've been able to really rise to the top together as a team. Now he's going to be leading the charge, taking the hilltop over onto Mount Gatka. It's going to be pretty early, though. I mean, we've talked about this before. If you were to be on the top of that mountain, you're not going to get any from resources, so they have to play a little bit more conservative.
Mm-hmm. And it could be a three-way battle happen to maybe south of Jorgopol. I mean, Voin, they're also trying to come in, but behind them, that's going to be the boys of ASD as well. So there might be a lot of trade-offs that can happen around north side as well. But I'm really keeping my eyes on Alpha Gaming. They're about to get inside the circle as well. And I'm thinking maybe Four Thrives is interested to do a little gatekeeping up against those boys. Celcom DG Alliance is just rotating around Pochinki area, sticking to the edge of the circle here. They could possibly find themselves having a little bit of an exchange up against Alter Ego Eris. If Alter Ego Eris actually decides to go in for an early push.
It's still rather too early to really go full force onto any form of fight just yet. I believe all these teams are still hoping to get themselves a decent spot around those kind of fields of Gakta or even the wraparounds over on the south. So we'll have to see. Voin Donkey, the last time that we saw them back in the rise, they look a little bit shaky as compared to their usual form. And hopefully they will be able to regain a little bit more of that momentum. And speaking of an Indonesian team that we all know and love, Boo Esports, we got Yummy in the house. He's always been the main man to pretty much frack anyone on the list and also leading a little bit more of the charge even if he is going to be put in a really difficult situation. While Four Tribes, they got themselves a decent ground to work with, but there's a member of MVKE lurking around, and that's going to be Wunti. And I wonder if Naki's going to be noticing this.
Oh man, Gantai spotted Gakor as well from Voin Donkey, so I guess everyone's testing their limits already this early at stage 1. So we got Black Four Thrives right now with a massive spray. Couldn't hit his target. I mean, understandably, because it's a moving one and also it's a kind of a long distance range as well. But if you can inflict damage, then maybe it's okay. But then you have to manage your resources. So I think enough spray for now, at least for Four Thrives. But we got another circle shift over here, and Horror Esports will be passing through Rozok, that is for sure. But I guess they won't be having any engagements, you know, as early as perhaps the next stage. But we are hearing a lot of gunshots happen, and that's coming from Tribe RMAC versus Team Secret this time.
Ooh, that is going to be a little spicy. Is Team Secret, they've been able to hold a high ground as they pass right through that RMSC, having one member down, and 2K goes in for a double, and this could just be the entire team shredded out just by this man alone. And here comes Seru, hoping to actually close whatever distance, and just like that, 3 points secured for Team Secret.
Oh man, it's not looking too good on the side of Tribe RMAC. Their players getting picked off one by one. Team Secret trying to reset. At the moment, we got GK getting picked up. There's still a chance for him to recover in this situation, but they got to do it fast, you know, because there are other teams lurking within the area as well and just waiting for that right opportunity to strike. Now, we talked about Tribe RMAC and how this is not their game just yet because 3 of their members already been taken out of the equation. So they're down to their last one. So we're just at stage 2 with 14 teams remaining. It is going to be difficult, for Tribe Aramasi to maybe even get past through a lot of squads in the game. But in the meantime, Celcom DG Alliance going up against Alpha Gaming.
Yeah, I do think that there are certain opportunities for you to still sneak around since it's still stage 2, plenty of space opened up for the moment. As much as there is a lot of all these vast terrains for all these teams to play, rotating from this point onwards will be so difficult, which is why Celcom Digital Alliance, if they really got to move, they got to start fighting for a little bit more of that space because they got some noisy neighbors from right across, like you said early on. So it is definitely a little tough for all these teams to really consider going for some wide swings, but it's going to be Void Donkey that continues to pepper onto Team Secret once they took down some couple of members of Tribe Aramasi earlier on. Void Donkey having better protocols as compared to from the last time that we've actually seen them. So this is just by the cross-section between the containers of Georgia Pool as well as the intersection into Ruins. So Void Donkey will play a pivotal role since this is a point where a lot of teams will be moving around.
Oh, for sure. 52 Esports right now is at the peak of the Gaka Mountain, so they do have the best vantage point so far. So I guess, Void Donkey maybe gauging the situation, sizing up the competition, whether or not they're going to push to take that spot, from 52. But then again, Vikings also may be thinking the same thing, and even Fourth Thrives, So I just know that in just a few more stages, this is going to turn into a bloodbath.
Oh, yeah, it definitely will be. And I was pretty locked in on the map where over on the south side of Gakta, Celcom DG Alliance is going on a 2-2 split, and that kind of holds a good 30% of the entry points over the south. So we'll have to see if anyone bypasses, especially for Vampire Esports, is taking a little slow rotation coming in from the south side. So that could be a big clash that happens there. Well, the rest of Poor Esports, they charge right through, and RRQ is just around the corner.
Well, Alter Ego Era's been getting some damage, and I believe there's one of them knocked down on the ground. Same thing goes for Horror Esports. Sky, again, needs to pick me up. But you know what? 6 elimination points in the bag right now for Horror Esports. So I guess this is a solid start. I mean, we are at stage 3 here, and they're about to have an altercation up against RQ. Now here comes Gunda, or Mafia Gunda rather, tries to go for that spray, but unfortunately he's been getting tagged as well. So he needed to step away, from that scene.
Yeah, great coverage coming from High Dami as well, just to quickly resuscitate to still be able to fend off some of these members of RQ. But RQ, the moment that they got that knock, they decided to take more of the control of the region. So that kind of makes it a little bit more difficult for Horror Esports to claim more grounds. But Homeboys, they're closing in up against Celcom Digital Alliance, but they got the hovercraft. It's going to be A-okay so long as he just continues driving on it. But Nikki, he's not going to be leaving him any form of space. He tries to push, but there's still shots coming from back.
All right, here we go now. Celcom Digital Alliance making Homeboys feel that they're a force to be reckoned with. Oh no, Nikki caught a nade. We got one more player down for Homeboys. I don't know what Tai Long's gonna do in this situation. Is he still gonna go for a push, or is it gonna call it quits?
Well, for now, they go in for a quick reset. As Celcom DG Alliance so far, as much as they were trying to hold a 2-2 split position, that kind of gave a lot more room for those teams to really punish. Now they're one member down. RQ, they hold over on a high ground. For Esports, still having a very difficult time to try to crack the case open because they're the ones getting kept right now. But Mafagunda, he has to form a push, and they got to do it right now. Perfect knock, and just like that, they just crash the gate and just send 2 members of RQ down.
Oh man, straight out of a movie scene. We got Mafia Gonda over here repping up Horror Esports, cooking up a nade here, trying to go up against RQ. He's been taking some damage from those nades as well, but Horror Esports is still alive and kicking and doing an impressive job, when it comes to the counter. The kill feed definitely continues to light up. Suncom DG Alliance getting punished over to the south side of the circle over here, but Horror Esports not out in the moods just yet, but RQ seems to be winning the fight.
Yeah, great jump shot coming right through. And this is going to be a quick reset before they recommit once again. I was thinking, why is RQ holding it so passively for such a long time? They're just waiting for the right moment to strike, and they managed to stop the horror streak. But Horror Esports, they got an impressive 7th point to end this run.
I think, this is still impeccable performance coming from Horror Esports. I mean, 7 points in the bag is still a great opening, for day number 1 of the playoffs. Now, 4 Thrives at a deficit over here. I mean, they did get in the game with only 3 members, but they're still rocking it. So that's what I like about 4 Thrives. But anyway, looking at 52, and we did mention a while ago that they were at the peak of the Gaka Mountain. And right now, I think they're still going to covet that place. But Team Secret, I believe, is interested to snatch this away from them.
Ooh, just a perfect timing coming in from Torres to look for a target. And Jiki's just lucky enough that he managed to swerve right down under to keep himself alive for a little while longer, while the rest of Team Secret are just giving him just enough backup. The rest of Team Secret, they tried to journey on, and currently Team 52, they're slowly getting withheld with the rest of the presence of the Vietnamese squad. But Helton so far being very, very patient. I mean, they've been able to really scout out all around, so they're not too concerned, because right now they get to take a couple of hot shots back over the side of Team Secret. Manzi tries to look for another, and if he could just pop the tower from Jiki, this could actually be converted into something, but it's just too open.
Okay, 4 Thrives obviously needs to go for a reposition over here. It's a vulnerable spot, to get stock in between 52 up above and Vikings, down the road. Boom Esports, the Wolfpack, they're sitting comfortably around Ruins area, but you know what, Team Secret, it's the opposite story. We got one of them knocked down on the ground. That would be Zerus, going up against Voin Donkey over here. He's been receiving a lot of damage as well from those nades. I'm not even sure if he's going to get picked up at this point, but GK managing business up against 4 Thrives, but we got Boom Esports coming into play as well.
Ooh, that was perfect from Cheeky. He's having a time of his life today. Not only did he survive the brunt of all these kind of damage, he has been able to just drag out those members of 4 Tribes just so perfectly with one toss of a grenade. But Esports right now taking over the kill side. They're just having some cheeky angles to work with inside Ruins, because they know for the fact that all these teams, they have to move into Ruins eventually, so they're just lying in wait. Team 52 now goes on a push up against Void Donkey.
All right, here we go. 52 Esports, after avoiding all conflicts just moments ago, now they came after a team inside this battlefield and was able to bag 3 points, in the pocket. So I think they're doing great. I think this was the first engagement that they've had so far in game number 1. They're pretty close to the last player of Voin Donkey, which is Machi, of course. You're seeing a chase happen, and it's a good spot coming from Torres Boo right now with that spray. I think he is connecting, but wasn't enough to actually put him down just yet. But for 52 Esports, again, 3 points in the bag, and they continue, of course, to fight for the first winner chicken dinner.
It's just so interesting watching this team, right? Because they were on the high hills, and then right now moving into the Ruins ground. That altercation with Voin Donkey doesn't feel like an altercation, because it was just so easily executed. And just like that, 3 points rewarded already. They found one through the high grounds of Gaka, and now finding their way into Ruins is going to be the next big thing. MBKE still 2 members left. I think like the ones that everyone needs to take down right now is Team Secret, as they got themselves a perfect trap set up against at 52, and is on 1. And once again, it is gonna be Jiki, the clutch master of Team Secret.
Access denied for 52. Team Secret came out as victors, from that solid altercation. That was such a beautiful thing to see in a battlefield. Now we're looking at 7 teams remaining for stage 5. We can see Boom Esports still controlling most of the ruins area, but RQ already trying to penetrate this spot. But they are being very cautious about APG. They know exactly that APG's just being patient over here. They're waiting for an opportunity to strike. And one of the boys of RQ, that's QGFSTY. Okay, I don't know why you're making it hard for us. But yeah, he's keeping a close eye, to the boys of APG coming from the south.
And there's just a little bit more that wiggle room for the rest of APG to just take their sweet time for the moment. And it's just about 1 minute before they really have to make any drastic decisions now. Taking a look at the rest of MVKE, though, they're closing the distance, and this is definitely a little bit more concerning, considering the fact that they are just by the edge of the zone. So MVKE, they will have to respect the space of Alpha Gaming.
And here we go. We're looking at East right now, joining the roster for Alpha Gaming today. So that's interesting. We got 1 point each, for Joel, Doc, and even East. So it's just RUTHLESS. Let's see if we can actually bag a point here. But right now we're looking at Joel, and his hearing, a vehicle up top. Is waiting if that player is going to go within his line of sight here. But he's pretty close with Miola as well, coming from Vampire Esports. So maybe, just maybe, it's the standoff.
And these two players love to sneak around, especially Mela for the most part. It's great to see him again, but Vampire Esports really relies on him needing to pull it into a top for maximum points. Good news for Mela is that he's in the zone, but not too much of a great news is that 4 members of APG will be moving towards his direction. Those nades are already flying right in. Question is, how well can he actually hold firm to his grounds right now? And only a Molotov to flush out his position with the AUG shot straight to the dome. Zio secures it, makes it 4 points for Alpha Gaming.
No 9 lives for Miaula. 6 teams remaining, stage 6. Ladies and gents, we got Joel popping some smokes over here, going up against Vikings. We got Trang up top. He's cooking a nade. He was able to throw, but unfortunately, he wasn't able to take down Joel, from that exchange. And he needed to step back. He needed to join Superman. Perhaps this is going to be a change in tactic. Obviously, they would want to go for a pinch here, but obviously they are outnumbered as well.
Yeah, it is a rather dire situation coming into this position. MVKE, they gotta find a way to kind of full send it, but then again, I don't see that they have any form of vehicles for Superman, but we've definitely seen some clutches before. But it's the entire APG squad that we're talking about. Doc also sneaking towards the back while Boom Esports goes in for that collateral up against the rest of Team Secret. Fighting inside of the church grounds as those nades are being exchanged one after another. Team Secret now corralled right into a defensive position, and that kind of allows Boom Esports to decide, okay, we'll go deeper into the castle grounds. We're just going to be able to utilize all these walls to continue to be a little bit mischievous. While Team Secret, they don't really have too much room because they're also being peppered by the rest of the Vikings.
And Boom Esports right now definitely showing fangs, but Team Secret, this is a wild display of skills and defense at the moment. There are a lot of teams pointing their guns at them at the moment. We got the Vikings coming from the north side. We got Boom Esports, of course, inside the ruins area as well. It's I guess it's going to be hard for Team Secret to leave this specific spot just yet because, well, they don't really have that much cover if in case the circle will not favor them.
True enough, on Team Secret just creating a little bit more of that stronghold right now, an uncrackable defense. Vikings Esports hoping to change that. They do have plenty of vehicles for them to actually utilize, but some of them have been burned down, so Superman has to rely back onto the buggy. And they've always been wary about APG's position because if APG pushes in, they could easily just spot out the rest of the Vikings. And speaking of which, it's already Doc looking upon that angle. Team Secret pretty much just got pretty much surrounded. So there's really, realistically, no space for Vikings to play.
Well, for now, considering that we still have a little bit of distance, for all the teams here, to be honest. I mean, Alpha Gaming's also just kind of a slow, steady strategy that we're witnessing right now coming from this team. But the circle shifted again, and this time leaving RRQ down south, and even Doc, from the south side of the zone. So perhaps we will be seeing APG get a little closer to RQ, but Team Secret, they now have the power position up against Boom Esports. So let's see what's going to happen.
Yeah, MBKE counted Olympic Star because part of the zone is still within their favor, surprisingly enough. Meanwhile, over on the back, Boom Esports, they got to start charging right through, and perhaps they could actually take the fight towards the rest of Team Secret because they know exactly where they're at. It's just that they weren't willing to challenge much early on, and now, when push comes to shove, somebody's got to make those big decisions. Over on the south side, Doc still kind of stuck in this pit. Well, he's pretty much surrounded with 3 members of RQ watching at that very corner.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. I mean, Doc obviously is pretty good, working independently. I mean, he finds those necessary angles to shut down the opposition. And I feel like, the rest of APG right now waiting for Doc's signal to go in for the pinch here. I mean, we did talk about this a while ago that APG definitely be getting closer to RQ. So we can see East trying to make a move here. Trying to scope down Swavel, if I'm not mistaken, but this is a little hard angle, even for Alpha Gaming.
I just love how technical these battles have been so far when you saw how teams are considering even tiny details like movements just to ensure that they are remaining safe at all costs. And APG right now knows that they really have to fight a little bit more up against the rest of RQ now that they've got every member pretty much corral over on that corner. They could also try to full send it. Speaking of full send, it's Boom Esports. They drop those big nades. It does connect onto 2K at this end of time. Seru goes toe to toe, 1 for 1, and now 3 members left on the side of Boom Esports.
Well, Boom Esports definitely has taken over that very spot where Team Secret was staying at. And now we can see Vikings also getting punished by Yummy over here. That was such a great shot. And now Vikings already eliminated, down to 3 teams remaining. We got Alpha Gaming, RQ, Boom Esports looking to get that first winner chicken dinner. 5 points in the bag now for RQ. Unfortunately, one of them gets knocked down on the ground. Same thing goes for Zero. Pondbin trying to respond, and I think was able to settle the score with 1 point under his name.
Ooh, APG now sniping onto those members. This Boom Esports hiding inside a church, but they go back and forth for a whole lot more. So Bell already down to very little health, and there's just going to be more and more of these bombardments because they have not really cleared off. So Bell's angle thus far. Gypsy now gets a little bit of a glimpse over onto the Doc. APG, they're having some great high ground, but eventually if they really want to push forward, I would still say RQ has got more ground to play with.
Oh man, here we go. East receiving a lot of damage, a lot of punishment coming from RQ. Man, it looks to me like RQ's really trying their best to defend themselves, but man, this putt is a little bit vulnerable to RQ. And here you go, possible outcome. Boom Esports right now on a rampage. 11 points in the bag, down to 2 teams, and we're about to witness just who will take that first chicken.
Wow, Boom Esports taking their rival brothers from Indonesia and now makes a quick matchup up against APG, which has been earlier weak. The Doc once again falters to the ground, but quickly traded back. It's going to be 0 on the ground. So down to a clean 2v2. I say clean, but Pombit is going to be the one left over on the back.
Oh man, things are getting intense, and that seals the final blow. Boom Esports just eliminated APG with only 5 points in the bag. They continued to dominate right from the get-go, and this was a convincing win for the Wolfpack.
just absolutely loving it. Boom Esports, they are so calm and so precise whenever they make certain plays happen. That call to rush for Team Secret earned that perfect defensive ground. And after that, they wasted no time. They've already got all that intelligence onto APG. They already know that those members of RQ has been playing somewhere in between. So they just found that perfect opportunity to punish both of these teams. And then down to that very final moment, well, what can I say? APG full send it for a 1v1, and they just got the muscles to secure themselves the first chicken dinner. And just look at those numbers. This is just huge for Boom Esports.
You know, patience is definitely a virtue, and that's exactly what we saw coming from Boom Esports. I mean, the moment that the power shifted to a Team Secret when they were not favored by the zone, they needed to actually get inside, and that was a great execution coming from Boom Esports, the way that they snagged that place from Team Secret. So again, the stats, they are there, numbers are not lying. Again, it was a phenomenal run for Boom Esports.
Yeah, so far, I think that they've been looking super clinical on a lot of the calls. Like, we saw a lot of these other teams that were playing around, whether if it's going to be the Ruins ground or even on the outskirts. They were kind of having certain struggles on making decisions. Even Team Secret, which we thought they're going to be staying put for a long while. They kind of didn't watch it back. They kind of know that Boom Esports was around, and Boom Esports had to make that call to push forward, and that push forward was really the key on their success in this round. That really was the biggest play in order to secure themselves a chicken dinner. And just like that, look at all these utilities. I would say Boom, they don't throw a whole lot of all these utils, but they were super efficient with it.
And APG took their time as well. You know, they were pretty passive during the first few zones, but you just know the intention is to actually get to the latter stages of the game, and that's when they will start to retaliate. You know, placement points, you can always get it, just as long as you will consider longevity inside the matches, but elimination points is kind of tricky to get. So yeah, I think they prioritized just getting the placement points first before they went for the numbers. But head-to-head, we got Boom versus APG. Damage output slightly towards Boom Esports. And, well, I mean, it's the reason is pretty obvious. It's a whopping 14 elimination points for Boom Esports.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are just a different level of a beast, right? Overall, when we take a look at how they've been able to just stack their 4 members up against the rest, whether if you're just going to be straggling out in the field or if it's just a direct confrontation, they just make those calls so quickly, especially when we look back into the push inside the church. Team Secret, with those members, you thought they would be able to respond, but Yummy, he made sure that he hit those shots when it matters the most, and therefore he's the one dealing the most damage and is the MVP of Game 1.
Well, it's a great start, you know, for Boom Esports. No doubt that they really actually dominated game number 1 over here. So I'm curious which teams is going to be stepping up, you know, for the remaining matches tonight. And I'm wondering, like, if they are really in the mood, are they going to go for like a solid double-digit elimination points in every match? Oh,
hopefully so. I mean, that's ideal for all these teams out there to be able to achieve. But I think that you just have to do enough, right? Since this is like a multiple day kind of playoffs, you just got to ensure that you make it into the top 18 by the end of this week. So this is just the start of it. So we'll have to see if the rest can actually catch up. 3 of these members of Boom Esports hitting 5 limbs to 4. And then you also have Haidami to also join in the list as some of the top performers back in Erangel.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, we just started day number 1 of the playoffs. So basically, this is more of a warm-up, you know, for the teams here. I mean, we got another group joining us, you know, for the next game. So that would be their first game. But match leaderboards, or leaderboard rather, we got, again, Boom Esports at the top with 24 in total. Alpha Gaming coming in at second with 11, tied up with RQ. We even have Team Secret coming in at 4th place with 10. So the only team that wasn't able to get anything out of this match would be Alter Ego Eris.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of a rough start. Like, when you take a look at the beginning, there was that battle between Homeboys, Todak, M9 members. A lot of all these Malaysian teams, they just went at each other. And who's the biggest victor? Hora Esports. They crashed out maybe slightly early, but they got 7 elimination points. That's just about good as it gets. EST Gante with the longest shot, 311. I believe this number is still incredible, but we'll definitely see this being surpassed in these upcoming rounds. 60 total eliminations, which means 4 players, they didn't really exactly get to play the game.
So I do wonder, the moment that we come back to Erangel later on for match number 3, I assume, I do wonder if we're going to be witnessing alterations, in their strategy. Maybe we will see vengeance happen, with the drop clashes that commenced a while ago. So those are the things that maybe I look forward to coming in for game 2.
Yep, and speaking of which, I believe that we're just going to take a little bit of a short break, and when we come back, we'll bring you into our second round of Ruthless Invitational Showdown. Well, that was a really short break, and we're already in for a whole lot more because we won't like to keep you guys waiting for far too long. Once again, it's Contra as well as Red Queen Andy as your presenters to the entirety of this circuit. And, you know, Red Queen, that was an incredible start for Boot Esports to set the tone of how it's going to go throughout this playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. You know what? Boom Esports did not even hesitate to show their power right off the bat. You know, they came out swinging, followed by a haymaker to close the game. So that was something else, something else. That's why I know it's very promising, for the remaining matches tonight. I just know that we will see a lot of epic moves, coming from the teams here. And again, I'm interested, with the rotations and how they're going to be adjusting their play style to the whole team. How is it going to fit? What will be the recipe for their chicken dinner? So those are just, some of the things that we'll try to observe, try to notice as we progress, to the remaining matches.
Yeah, and I just love that these teams who we've seen in the past couple of seasons, they've been so tactical in their play. Team Secret over on the outskirts, they had so many traps being set up to farm those elimination points. And then you've got RQ hiding into some of all these cheeky little ditches in order to make that top 4 in that last round. And ATG remaining very, very consistent. They were sweeping from the edges to get into that top 2 position, and they played it to perfection. Only needed the final touch. So I'm thinking that these are still very, very strong teams moving into the upcoming round. So this is where Group C will be joining us up next. So once again, we got Group A on the block, but we welcome BTR, NEPX, Talon, D-Saber, Team Flash, T2K, AZ, and ASIA.
Oh, man. You know what? T2K, I waited for them to actually have an explosive play style in the PMNC. I mean, they did not disappoint, but I think we still need to tweak, a little bit more on the aggression side. So perhaps we will see just that happen for game number 2. So I'm going to go lock in T2K.
Okay, really strong choice there. And I'm also going for another team from the ESA, and that has to be ASI8. I mean, these fellas, they always look incredible inside Miramar. So I'm hoping that they'll back one to kickstart their run.
Oh, not gonna lie. I mean, ASI8 definitely is a... Oh, are they not? I just saw them.
I saw them in the list. So, okay, so we got a quick update. ASI is not going to be part of it. Okay, quick change.
I think they are.
They are playing, right?
They are, yeah.
I got trolled by the producers. Okay, Front, your turn. What exactly are you going for?
Yeah, but you know what? I agree with ASI8. I mean, this guy's definitely on a roll as well. I see a lot of posts that, ASI8's been getting some awards, some achievements, and it's going to be an interesting rivalry, I guess. Perhaps, that we are going to see from ASI8 and even for Thrives. But this is a great prediction as well. I mean, Hora Esports for game number 2. Miramar, yeah, but, Hora Esports, for me, I think they do better in Erangel compared to Miramar. But let's see what's going to happen. After all, it's the prediction game.
That's right. When we take a look at the rest of the field as well, there's so many teams out there that always have, that potential to really go big. And when we take a look at, some of these teams coming into Group A, some of them were just warming up. Alter Ego didn't really receive any formal points. We didn't really get to see them in action as well, which is what I was wondering, like, are they going to be able to step up? And then now we also do have the return of Talon coming in from Group C. I think that this team definitely has shown some really great play style back in the past, but they are still trying to find back the rhythm that they had. Even from the last Ruthless Invitational Showdown, I really want to see a whole lot more where they do eventually have those pop-off moments a little rather later, somewhere in the middle of the playoffs or even towards the tail end of it. So we'll keep our eyes peeled for some of these guys, and of course the return of some of the old kings of BTR, which I do believe Coach Ken, he loves to change things up. So we'll have to see who's going to be playing on to this opening roster.
Yeah, I still owe you guys because I've had an interview with Federales, and I'm really excited to share with you what we've talked about. We covered some facts about how hard it was for him when he actually decided to go pro, for esports, and the discipline, that he actually went through, giving up some of the distractions rather in his life just to pursue a dream in PUBG Mobile. But again, we're about to start a Miramar. And I'm just excited, just how explosive the teams are going to get, for this round.
That's right. I'm excited too. And, you talked a little bit on that interview that you had with Federales. I'm glad that, through those kind of trials and tribulations, he found himself a little bit more mature, a little bit more disciplined. And when you want something so badly in life, you got to make some sacrifices. And I'm glad that Federales, he made those big decisions into becoming, a better player overall. And I think down the stretch, eventually BTR will be rewarded someday.
Exactly. It's really the mindset. You just have to give it to them. Just how many hours they really give into this game to make sure that they will remain as high caliber players to be qualified, for this type of tournaments. And just imagine that you have like other players who is just as good as you. So to make a name in an esports game title is definitely outstanding. And Federales right now is making a lot of noise, for Indonesia. Pretty much so. He definitely deserves it. I mean, that guy is very talented, very skilled in playing PUBG.
I absolutely have no qualms about that because he's proven himself to be, the apex predator even back in those PMCL days when he was with Miramar Bros. And up till this day, joining with the rest of the field, BTR still remains to be a well-respected roster coming into this attack. And we're already getting a full fight to T2K and T-Secret 1-1 for now. And it is a heavy MG3 right in the forefront. And just like that, he finds the M249 to spray everyone down. Team Secret bows out with nothing to take.
Okay, that's how you want to start it? Okay, T2 came with explosive drop flash here in Miramar for stage 1, and man, they came out as victors, from that conflict. And we're seeing another one happen right now in front of the screen. Chul right now down on the ground, and he just got stabbed. Man, that was nasty coming from Team Flash.
Yeah, quick infiltration. I believe they wanted to fight for this compound as well. They were just moving over onto the creases, and Team Flash, they won out that trade. This is the thing about Seru. It is a very high priority for a lot of these teams because most often than not, this is not too far from, the midsection, wherever that zone actually ends up. And then there's plenty of loot in this area. So Team Flash, they got the first dips. And Talon, they're kind of stretched out far apart from one another, which is why that Achul, as much as he wants to trade, it's not going to be enough up against these members of Team Flash. And, it's only been less than 5 minutes, and we're seeing even more names drop. And APX, they're striking out Alter Ego. These guys, they just went off hot from that spree inside of the PMNC. And now striking down one of the biggest prospects in Indonesia, that is absurd.
And Rosemary was the first player again to be taken out of the equation. So that is deja vu that happened right there. But you have to give it to Alter Ego Airs during the PMWC. I mean, they were pretty phenomenal as well. 6 games in, and they were able to join top 5 in the overall ranking. So you just know how crazy, Alter Ego Airs can be inside of games. And if they really want to get those numbers, I think it's really not a problem, for Alter Ego Airs. And obviously, Rosemary, he's not a stranger at all when it comes to like MVP titles and such.
Yeah. And I feel like Alter Ego, they kind of have their own activation time, right? There are times where they feel like, oh, we got to push. And then they'll just, they usually chill for the first 2 days or so, read the room a little bit more. And then third day onwards, that's where they go full on pushing, right? So Alter Ego, as much as they lost one member, which is, the superstar Rosemary, I think they could still make their way into the zone, which is not too far off from El Azahar, where they started off from. But the problem is wrapping around an EPX. That is going to be a little bit more of a trouble. Whereas Hora Esports, they got plenty of room to play. They're already in the sweet spot, right in between La Corberia. They don't really have to move too far off to get into the zone. So no troubles up ahead for Hora Esports.
One more thing about Alter Ego Eras is, I love the fact that an ad actually showed up when they dominated PMWC, and Rosemary was kind of saying, pressure? What pressure? But you just have to give it to the guy. I mean, he's definitely an awesome player, a force to be reckoned with. So everybody's kind of still, major respect to this guy. But anyway, getting back into the action over here, we got the homeboys inside their cribs right now, getting attacked by RQ. We got one of them trying to get close to the compound, probably doing some information gameplay. But Simba, I believe he is already anticipating someone will go off angle over here. But obviously, I'm only seeing 2 players here coming from homeboys, while there are 3 from RQ.
Yeah, speaking of homeboys, their organization, I mean, the owner, namely Daddyhood, he's been acquiring a lot more different teams out there, other than just PUBG Mobile, where he is really expanding his organization. And right now, they're amped up with even new players, which I've not seen before. And they're doing massive duty up against the rest of our RQ. Those Nates are going to be primed right over onto Imba, as well as Nick Teasy. And that's not going to connect. The only question is, how are they really going to fend it up? Because I see a member of Homeboys on the low ground, one being struck down. So this is definitely going to be a tough one. RQ, you can close it out.
All right, here we go. We got Homeboys getting racked up. Okay, was able to defend a counter. Unfortunately, that was a good shot, a good follow through coming from RQ. And, I guess it's safe to say that they are going to be surviving this clash still with a complete squad. But coming off of the left field over here, we got the first grenade elimination coming from Nerpeco. And then Homeboys right now, Tai Long going in for a charge here. We got Lapar cooking up a nade here, but this is going to be a UMP versus UMP weapon. And we got Tai Long taking the win.
Ooh, I just love the way he just hustled for it. And Tai Long, at least he's hoping to draw 1 point back for the side of Homeboys, as he's going to be the only member surviving for the meantime. GF Sty pushing with the monster truck. I don't think there's much room for Tai Long to really do much more, but we'll see. Maybe he can actually go in for an exchange, as he found himself a buggy to swerve right away across the hillside, and he might just be able to get out of this sticky situation.
That could be the case. Let's see if that's exactly what's going to happen. But Team Flash already taking the blue over here together with Talon Esports. So I guess both of the teams is maybe thinking, okay, we need to settle the score here. The moment that we expose ourselves, that's going to be the end of the road for us. So I feel like not all of them has a vehicle to drive around the map here. So perhaps that's one of the factors why these 2 teams are deciding, okay, we need to have this fight before we even get into the play zone.
Fair enough. And right now, RQ, they established their zone control while the rest of Alter Ego is looking to strike them down. They have one member lost out, so this could still be very well in the favor of Alter Ego. But then again, they don't have Rosemary, so it's a fair 3v3 between both Indonesian teams. Despite so, I think with Sovel's presence, he's already noted that the rest of Alter Ego is around the corner, and he could actually dictate who goes down first and foremost. The moment that they set themselves a little bit out of line, this will be very punishing. And for the fact of the matter is, that zone is actually closing closer into the Cabrera as well as the Crater Fields. They have to quickly self-respond.
Okay, RQ right now having a trade-off up against Alter Ego Eris, and that was an accurate shot coming from Swavel right now. He's trying to recuperate in this situation, but Alva already cooking up a nade here. Can he be accurate with a shot? Unfortunately, that was a good one coming from Alter Ego Eris, but it seems to me like they are the ones losing the fight here up against RQ. But yeah, we're just waiting for that right moment for RQ to strike and to eliminate, of course, Alter Ego Eras. And then we got 14 teams remaining here for stage 2. And the teams are not just disappointing, not doing anything to disappoint the fans.
Yeah, RQ, they're absolute geniuses, right? You look at Swavell, how he really fought off on that one. He took that first pick off, great. And then they were trying to retaliate. He waited until they wasted every single drop of bullet, and then they strike back. Swavell gets 2, and then another member doing exactly the same to take down Alva. That's how you really want to dry out your opponents. RQ, with their brilliance, they secure 6 points so far. And I just forgot how amazing RQ is when it comes down to all these maps in Miramar, especially when it goes to the northern terrains. Now, Vampire Esports in the mix up against Horror Esports.
All right, here we go. Pure adrenaline. Horror Esports versus Vampire at the moment. Sky taking in some damage, quite low in HP. Still an exchange of nades over here, but Sky finally caught a nade coming from Red Bull. And another one bites the dust. Vampire Esports took down a Mafia Gunda. And now Horror, obviously at a deficit over here. They are being surrounded by Vampire Esports, but continues to defend themselves. Lazarus, that was a heavy hit, and now he needs to step back for a while. But we can see Dewey right now letting go of this attack up against Horror Esports. He continues with a spray, giving a lot of damage from Horror Esports, or for Horror Esports, while they are actually being flushed out from this building. Where are they going to go?
There is such a tight corner, and there's just barely any angles that they can actually set outwards because Q is just holding down that crossfire. And then right now, he's pretty much bunched into a corner. Same goes to Jingle, but it's been amazing how long they've been able to hold. Chewie finally gets the pick off, and now it's only down to High Dami.
Oh man, Jiggle wasn't able to jiggle his way through. It's knocked down on the ground over here. We got Horror left with 1 player, Height Dammy, right behind this wall, getting hunted by the boys of Vampire Esports. He's not moving a muscle over here. He doesn't want to compromise his location. We got Vampire Esports raiding the building, checking the corners, while Height Dammy's just really waiting for anyone to step into the line over here. We got Vampire charging in 4v1. We got 1 down, Lazarus. But unfortunately, that was too much for one guy to handle, and Vampire Esports obviously won the fight. But here comes another challenger, the boys of Train to Kill.
Non-stop action, back-to-back. Now those nades draw right in. And they're boxed into the same position where those members of Horror Esports faltered. So this could be very risky. T2K, they're unleashing all their clips, and the rest of these members of Vampire Esports, they use so much utility just to clear out that previous team of Horror Esports. So they are definitely on the deficit to even return any grenades back towards those members. So T2K, they take their sweet time. And 2-4 on the hands of Kaja, well, Ajaya. Well, I gotta start learning how to pronounce that name later on. But overall, T2K, they're very calm, they're very calculated. They're all these folks and those nades. Oh, they're clipping shortly.
Well, Talent Esports seems to not be spreading their wings as well. We got a confirmation. They just got eliminated. We got T2K Esports making a move once again up against Vampire. It seems to me like they are dominating. 5 points in the pocket. We can see Ajaya back on the screen over here, trying to find an angle to take down anyone in front of him. Vampire Esports in big trouble at the moment.
Yeah, Master D absolutely on fire right now. Red Bull hoping to funnel them into this choke point, but T2K, the carefully dissect this fight one after another. Schweppes as well as Red Bull, they gotta find a way to at least bring down one before they can actually trade back. And beautiful angles coming from Nate, but yet finding nothing else in return. Kajaya once again knocking down Lazarus, and now only down to Red Bull. He's holding on to that fumble point. But even despite so, is he gonna be able to hit the mark? It's gonna be a quick swing. He knows that something feels a little suspicious, and just like that, the swing connects. But Red Bull, he could not secure the final blow.
Hey, elimination points now for T2K. What a way to play Miramar and make a statement. Okay, hopefully they can continue, maintaining this kind of pace up until the latter stages. RQ right now with 2 casualties, and they're trying to take this compound away from T2K. And I think, Nepex has the same idea. So I guess this particular spot will be busy in just a while. I mean, this is a prime spot. So Nepex and even RQ understands that, this is a great one. This is a great compound to hold on to.
Yeah, true enough. RQ, they can choose where to defend off against D2K or just wrap widely around. They don't really have to draw their guns just yet. As NEPX, they're coming from the North Point and they're about to go in for a challenge. And that could be the sweet spot for the rest of RQ to eventually take on that challenge. And they got to do it real quick, though, because that zone is now shifting. So NEPX, when they got on wheels, they were thinking about pushing T2K at first, but now they get that party into the zone first and foremost. And look who's there, AZMY. And also BTR is already lying in wait on stage 4. So this is not going to be an easy task for NEPX to push through. D-Saber now making a mark, getting the fine onto Mimi. And this is just not going to be an easy task for them to really get off of that run. 10 is the next one to falter. As the rest of 52, they're going on that full engagement mode up against T2K as well. It's a 4-way battle.
Oh man, this is interesting. It's getting tighter and tighter for game 2 over here. We got Bigatron still in a conflict up against 52. Coming off the kill feed, it's a confirmation. Ooh. Master Zordi already out. 52 Kidobu also taken out. Man, this is a trade-off. This is catastrophic for some of the teams over here. We're looking at 11 teams remaining for stage 4. I mean, it's even too early to witness a lot of wipeouts happen. But you know what? There's no stopping this team's right now inside the game.
Not at all. BTR so far just hoping to hold firm onto this slump compound. They gotta clear off Taurus Boo first and foremost. Despite them not really having all too much left to really fend off, they are very careful on their approach. But instead, it's gonna be Baby that actually finds that take down onto 52. So that is only good for 11th place for the Malaysian squad.
Mm-hmm. And the fight continues on. Team Flash, I saw them still on a journey, getting into the safe zone up until stage 3. So it's just so unfortunate to witness them step inside the zone only to be obliterated, So we're looking at 9 teams remaining. Again, we are still at stage 4 here. D-Savior, they've been a little bit low-key. But then again, we can see Lamborghini bagging most of the number over here for D-Savior. And they're looking to get some more. There's a team just right down below them. And I'm just trying to check, okay, which team is this? Maybe it's the boys of ASI 8? But, it's going to be hard since BT are probably looking their direction as well.
Yeah, true enough. BTR, they only have 2 members to really play with, so it is going to be a limited angle coming in from BTR to really trade back. Todak playing part of the high grounds, but they are keeping D-Saber in check at the very same time. D-Saber quietly removed 5 players in the map so far, as they've been able to really battle it pretty cleanly with all 4 members still intact. So I think that some of all these names are definitely going to be hot favorites. ASI8, they did manage to get 1 point, but they also lost a member at the very same time. So over on to La Cabrera, it gets a little awkward. Is Tai Long as well as RQ, they're pretty much locked into the city. And to exit out of this area is also rather difficult.
Yeah, T2K and Nepex, this fight is already about to go down. It's inevitable. They are fighting for a spot here north side of the circle, and another team might be discussing if they're going to be joining in the fight. Again, Igneous with an on-point shot here. Oh, what an exchange coming from Nepex. That's coming from Claw. He just made Igneous explode into pieces.
That was a homing missile that he just thrown out right there. So clean, so precise, and right now, and EPX, Nepex, like you said, is going to be having a field day out. But then again, look at how many teams are fighting over onto that high ground terrain. So Nepex got to quickly go and resuscitate that fallen member and go on another huge brawl. The rest of D-Saver not exactly inside the zone just yet was AZ Slumber. This is a newly promoted team coming from Malaysia, making it into the top 8. Rather impressive on how they've been able to make this feat, as they're already securing 1 placement point, but they definitely want a whole lot more. So it's time to test their firepower, as they have not garnered any form of kills thus far. We got to see if they would be able to achieve a whole lot more. Gotcha Kuta over on the top side of the hill, playing very, very carefully. They know that NEPX is around the vicinity, and they will try to give a little bit of that space away just in order to really secure the rest of the hillside, while the rest of Doda still getting off against the rest of the Savior. So DX, they're ready for this brawl, as they're going to be charging up against the swordfishes of Todak.
All right, here we go. The Savior, Todak, trying to settle business over here. Pathogen caught a nade. The boys cooking as well. Same thing goes for the rest of the team here. Todak keeps dodging all of those nades. I mean, they're doing a perfect job over here, just maintaining their distance up against D-Savior. They're trying to find an angle over here, but D-Savior repositioning themselves over to the foot of the mountain over here. They're going to go in at the backside, going for that angle. And Todak right now, we're checking if they can still, of course, adjust to this reposition.
Todak so far playing very cautiously. And D-Saver is looking for a flank angle as well. They're hoping to actually catch an AT off guard. Leon now goes in for the push, and they might just be able to spot them out with him playing right across these corners. AT being absolutely cheeky, but they got Cleon funnel into the pit, and in between the pit, 2 members falter to the ground. Only 2 members left for the side of Todak, and the trade's looking pretty good. Shin is the next one to fall. Power Jin has got to hold down the line. 8 elimination points, and if they secure all this, it's going to be a total of 12. And Frantisi, where can he go? Where can he run? He's going to look to secure 1 member first and foremost. Takes down Shin. Nate, go get that grenade. And Kenny, he's got to activate. He got to suppress those members of the Savior before it's too late. And BTR, they're flanking from the back.
I love what I'm seeing from the screen here. Everyone's putting up a great show, and you're absolutely right. The Savior, men right up behind them on the boards of BTR and Todak, also making it very difficult for D-Savior to survive this one. And it looks like they're the ones losing this fight, but here comes Natty T with the attack. S12K, but what? Even Frenzy on a low HP over here was able to win the fight. Odds were against his favor.
Yeah, it's all thanks to Optimus with that flank coming in from the high ground, and D-Saber was not prepared for a third party to join in the mix. BTR sees that opportunity, takes out Dodak instead. Oh my word, Fredizzi, he's looking to escape out of the situation, and lucky enough, Razy ran out of bullets. Fredizzi, you gotta go. He's gotta dash through the hillside and into the city he goes. Optimus giving chase. He looks to secure it, but can he do so? Oh my word. Queen, what are we watching?
I mean, I was about to ask the audience, are you guys sure this is the playoffs? I feel like we're already casting the grand finals here, Contra.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, these guys are working so hard here in game 2. I mean, that's the nature of Miramar, which is super fun to watch. And then right now, we go back into a little bit more of that peaceful scenario, RQ. Still trying to fend off for a little bit more of that space, but they couldn't really do too much because there's just overwhelming numbers of these AZ players right across. So they kind of want to decide to let Nepex to just try to take out some of these AZ members first and foremost, and then RQ will say, you know what, please open up that space for us. We're pretty good down here. We already got the zone. We don't have to do more.
Oh, you know what? BTR, Todak, Homeboys even, I think that they're going to slow down a bit. I mean, there's really not much pressure from their side to push for now. It's a different story, though, for AZ and Nepex over here. Obviously, Nepex needs to step inside the blue zone, or the play zone rather, and they will have to deal with AZ. I mean, this cannot happen later on. This needs to happen now, and we can see that Nepex a little bit struggling in terms of their position at the moment, and AZ is doing a perfect job right now, just throwing all those things to keep them at bay.
Yeah, it's kind of tough whether if you decide to let the rest of AZ fall through, or you just basically crash into the zone by brute force. So Netbacks, they're playing a little bit more defensively as AZ. They're at least hoping to secure themselves a couple of creases to really deny even more that space away from Netbacks. So now it comes down to this big decision. Where exactly are they going to go? They find that strike. Claw. Perfect angles against Gosh. Does find it. And he's going to move to secure another one with a tandem duo on the push. So Rex is going to take charge as maybe 66. Can he actually hold down the line? The rest of AZ Slumber, they have yet to actually found those targets in return. And as much as they tried, here comes that nade. Perhaps this will be cooked to perfection. And it falls perfectly to chip down both of their health bars, but not quite enough to knock out the whole team. And here comes the rest of RQ. This is the situation I talked about, where RQ is just waiting for the perfect time.
Oh, definitely, man. This is a three-way battle, and unfortunately, Netflix was right down there in the middle, so it was easier, you know, for the other teams to just hit them with a big whack to the head. But anyway, getting back into the action, RQ continues to fight with Netflix and even the boys of AZ over here. So I believe BTR probably checking, you know, if there is someone coming up from behind them. I mean, obviously, there's still a player here from Todak, and they were able to get the situation straight, right? I mean, RQ, again, was able to pick up something, and even BTR.
Yeah, a respectable top 6 finish for Todak, despite the odds where they were flushed by DX initially. And now they massively actually return the favor. AZ Slumber finally get themselves a hit over onto Sobel with the M249. Now GF Sty looking for the exchange as he's slowly drawing one after another, but he's pretty much in a rut with the high ground push coming from maybe AZ Slumber on their debut run here in Ruthless Invitational Showdown, gets themselves into the top 4.
Hey, they do have the number advantage right now up against FX Esports, with Claw trying to dance it off with two boys of AZ. Unfortunately, again, he was the one that got hit so bad. He got down on bended knees. Now 3 teams remaining. Netflix, again, just got eliminated with 5 points in the pocket. BTR, Razy, about to cook up a nade here. They're throwing it, but completely off target.
Oh boy. Now the numbers are in the favor of AZ, but those nades are looking really good. Razy is just putting a debt upon them. Maybe he's got to hold down the line. Well, it's going to be Asmi. Just going for a quick save at the moment. Optimus now joining in the party as well. They now get to resuscitate, and the full-on bro Optimus again hitting the mark. And now, can he actually shut down the rest of the Malaysian AZ Slumber? As this team from the PNMC has been able to find their way into the top 3, 2 versus 2 right now. Homeboys Tylong somehow survived throughout the tail end, and he could be the torn in the flesh up against these guys up on the hill. And he's now charging up in order to find the third party angle, and it's going to miss. Looking up the grenade. Go against Optimus. Optimus finds it. Now it's a 1v2.
Okay, that was fun. That was fun. Bigatron by Vitality remains at the top of that clash. And here comes the homeboy, the remaining homeboy, Tai Long, about to make a move. It's a 2v1. Tai Long with a UMP goes in for the spray. Wasn't able to hit anyone, but hold down he goes. But what a clutch! What a clutch coming from homeboys! Bigatron by Vitality just got eliminated by a single player from homeboys.
This was a miraculous chicken dinner. You remember that homeboys, initially they were fighting up against RQ. All the members lost out except for Tylong. Tylong survived with 1 HP. He ran off. He ran to the sunset and to the tail end to secure this crazy chicken dinner in Miramar.
Oh man, I'm super happy with what I'm witnessing, you know, and getting from all of the teams right now. I feel like everyone's excited. You know, it's making the fans crazy down there in the comment section. I mean, we are getting supplied by a lot of clutch moves coming from these amazing players. But then again, we don't want to take away the spotlight, you know, from the homeboys. We got Tai Long making the move so far, and that was such a great one. 3 points in the bag for him.
Tai Long is such a boss, I tell you that. I mean, he secured all these eliminations by himself because the rest of his teammates were already succumbed to the firepower of RQ so early back in stage 1, if you remember that. And then at first I thought BTR was surely gonna win that out. Optimus was absolutely on fire. He was the one that depleted the Saber up the hillside. He was also taking charge of that fight up against AZ Slumber. And we're starting to see all these names from Malaysia starting to appear pretty flashy towards the tail end of this run. And just like that, they managed to seal the deal with Homeboys taking the win. So surprisingly, I mean, there's just so many events in this matchup where it just makes us feel like, wow, this feels like a finals already.
It does feel like the finals, but you're absolutely right. You know, it was a great thing to see coming from BTR, the way that they eliminated AZ, even though, you know, the odds weren't really on their favor. You know, they were outnumbered, but still they were able to turn the tables, you know, up against AZ. But I think what the best thing that ever happened was the fact that Homeboys, they're down to their last player. He came from behind, and I think it was just like really pure adrenaline from that point. It was just pure instincts and ice in his veins, baby.
Yeah, and he just went spraying and praying as well on the M249. He's like, he thankfully he snapped towards Optimus first because he was weakened earlier, so he won't be able to actually find it. But Razy, look at the amount of damage he's done as well in order to supplement Optimus at the very same time, to also match up to the closest number, DX, where they had the same elimination. But Razy definitely dealt a whole lot more damage, had a lot more assists. Contribution-wise, I think the Savior had a whole lot of eliminations in this round as a team in general. So we want to tabulate the scores. Where do these two teams sit at the moment? Because BTR, I believe they should be taking the cream of the crop right now because Optimus was on a whole nother level in this match.
Looks like we still, you know, at the PMNC fever, so to speak. But hey, we got Optimus BTR getting the MVP title for this round. 7 elimination points under his belt with 1017 damage output. Not so big with the utilities, but he gets a job done.
Yeah, I mean, so far he's really looking for those prime angles, no pun intended, especially the one that shredded apart both the Savior as well as Toda at the very same time from that hillside. So that's where BTR has been able to farm majority of their numbers, so to speak. Now, look at the rest of the field. Funny enough, we don't have a picture of Red Bull since he's been playing for so long, you know? Like, I feel like this man, he's not a stranger anymore. I mean, surely we don't know the identity of Optimus for the meantime, or even Shin, but eventually it'll be revealed to us once the PMSL Southeast Asia begins. So we keep your eyes out on that. So great prospects so far. We see a lot of brand new names really showing up to really rack up big points. And that's a total of 16 for BCR. And even bigger news is that some of the new names, NEPX, 9 points, AZ Thunder, 10 points, Homeboys also historically, you don't really see them too much on the top four, but they are performing so well, securing those 13 points in this round.
Oh, for sure. And, you know, it's just, again, amazing to know that everyone is still kind of, I guess, on a high because of PMNC. And this makes a great platform for them to keep their fingers warmed up, you know, for the upcoming official tournaments, just like the PMSL, and everybody's excited for it as well. And everybody's training, of course, putting in the hours to make sure that they perfect all of their strats, their rotation, their strategies that they're gonna need, you know, for the upcoming tournaments. We got Razy still, you know, for BTR with the longest elimination distance. It's a total of 333 meters, and then for this round, we only have one airdrop that got looted. Throwables used in the match, it's 149, so this is still pretty average for me. I'm looking to see if this number still will go up.
Yeah, and look at the current race to the top. Boom Esports, RQ, BTR, the Indonesian teams are making a quick surge into the top 3. By Homeboys from Malaysia, securing themselves this massive chicken dinner to kickstart their day's run. And of course, APG back in game 1, they did phenomenally securing the top 2 spot. And AZ Slumber is currently sitting at number 6. So we'll definitely see plenty more shifts to come when the rest of the field will meet each other a whole lot more. And look at the rest of the pack. NEPX on their debut run, 9 points alongside with T2K. Not too shabby to kick things off, whereas the rest of the field are still trying to settle in onto how exactly do they navigate around so many new names into this iteration of RIS.
A massive jump, coming from T2K, 11 ranks. That's outstanding. Team Flash also moved up 4, Alter Ego Airs with 2. But then again, we're just starting, the playoffs, and we are just done, with game number 2. We still got 4 more for tonight, so we don't exactly sure how things are going to shape up, for day number 1. All we know is that we are looking forward to teams who will give us a great performance, enough to kind of build or start to build the gap that we always look for in the overalls.
And, we've already seen some glimpses of brilliance. I mean, for me, what I really loved about that last round was fights after fights after fights. The battle for the high ground control onto these compounds were insane. And T2K, they absolutely impressed on that one. So I want to see a whole lot more when some of these teams take their fight into Erangel. So we'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll deliver you round 3 here in the RIS.
Step into the ring.
Well, a major plot twist just happened in Miramar. Homeboys taking the win. Now in our third match, ladies and gents, in Erangel. Welcome back to the Ruthless Invitational Showdown Season 12. We are still your casters, Red Queen, together with Contra.
Yeah, I mean, I can't get over the fact that that was a miraculous comeback coming in from Tai Long of Homeboys. Like, he made his debut here for Homeboys, and overall, he just knew the right timing to really push up. And thanks to his survivability, his skills to really never tap out when he was going up against RRQ so early in the match, that brought him this hurdle to claim a chicken dinner for Homeboys and Malaysia on the start of our run here in the Ruthless Invitational Showdown. So we go back into Erangel this time around, and I believe that we still have Group C to be involved, where Group A should be taking a break. So welcoming back Group B will be pretty interesting to see how well will they actually fare moving into this Erangel bout. So let's quickly take a look at the list of names. So this time we'll have a quick look on who do you think would be, the next one to take the big win home.
Who's gonna take the spotlight, so to speak? Okay. Well, again, I'm definitely one of those people who got their hearts broken yesterday because Tribe Eramacy actually did not qualify for the top 2, so they did not qualify for the PMSL. But hey, it's okay. Maybe, just maybe, since we are still on a high when it comes to the PMNC Fall South Asia, perhaps Tribe could maybe show us a little spark, from the team. So I'm gonna go lock them in.
Ooh, that's a really good pick out there.
Tribe Eramacy, AST.
Okay, I mean, I was looking at D Savior. I think that the way that they played was really clean until they were flanked by BTR. So now that they get a little bit more of that room to breathe, I think D Savior is going to do pretty good. So I'm going with DX.
Ooh, D Savior. Okay. Maybe. I mean, Lamborghini's been showing off, from the get-go. So perhaps he could maybe give us a one good big blow, for the coming round. And we're waiting for production team. Okay, Alpha Gaming. Okay, not bad. I mean, we did kind of expect them to sweep all of the rewards, during the PMWC. That's really something, I guess, APG has been shouldering on, the pressure. But I'm very happy with what they have achieved so far at the EWC. And maybe we can see also something, something of like a teaser, since East had already joined back with APG.
Yeah, it's like a big reunion of the old For Miracle 5 days, right? In a sense. But then again, like overall, these boys, they definitely have their own formula. I mean, back in game 1, they've already shown us that they are still pretty much steady. And, if I were to be picking D Savior, I would have actually picked APG too as a safe pick option. But overall, I really want to see all these other teams really put on a showing, because D Savior, I don't think that they're happy on that round, right? Because clearly that fight against Toda, they should have actually cleanly won that. If the 2 members of BTR did show up, then it could have actually been an outrageous win. But of course, it is how it was being played out. BTR also gets another run in this round. So I wonder if there's going to be any form of a payback time when we move into this Erangel matchup. So I clearly want to see how do these teams actually fare, because now we're also looking at the rise of all these PMNC teams and all the other teams qualifying from each respective regions. Like AZ Slumber, this is a team that showed up out of nowhere, claiming the top 4 as well. So, surprise, surprise, we're down for a whole lot more moving into the next map of Rank.
Well, here we go. Game number 3 on the way back into the OG map of Erangel. And you know what? Coming back into what just happened during the end zone in Miramar, I think, homeboys, Tai Long was able to catch them off guard, BTR. I think they weren't aware of the fact that, he will be coming from behind. Perhaps, they were maybe anticipating that he'd pop up somewhere in front of them. But I guess you gotta seize, every opportunity. You gotta outsmart, outgun your the opposition. And that's exactly, I guess, what happened with Homeboys. And paying close attention to the names that we can see over to the left side here, we got Optimus with the highest damage output. Most elimination, of course, goes to BTR Optimus with 7 right now. I did see Nerpeco as well. Most knockouts, I think this guy is getting all the titles, after 2 games.
AZ Slumber, the new kids on the block, immediately going for a hot drop into Primoz, challenging Vampire Esports. Now, that is a rather bold move, if you ask me, as these are the champions of Thailand that we're talking about. So, I want to see how this fight plays out, because if there's done and dusted, they will also need to face off against 4Tribes, who usually starts over onto the quarter of the ports. So we'll have to see whoever wins out this trade, how do they actually wrap around? Because that is still pretty much a center zone, which, they can't take their sweet time. There's plenty of minutes for them to burn out. And NEPX, they start things strong. They took out one member of NEPX, CD Alliance, and they're just blow for blow going on with their katanas, swinging their knives to secure all 4 members of NEPX.
What just happened? Okay. All right. You blink and you miss. But it's okay. I think no weapons got picked up, at that clash. It was just all about the knives and the machetes. So I think it was a clean one. Unfortunately, NEPX wasn't able to get to the weapons first, perhaps. So I think that was the reason of their demise. But in the meantime, we're looking at AZ Slumber once again, ladies and gents. And just like what Contra mentioned, this is their debut here in Ruthless. Now they're making a move up against Voin Donkey. Now, this is a veteran team, so I do wonder if Voin will be taking up this bait.
We'll have to see about that. Voin Donkey is a very calculated team in the form of how they actually measure their attacks as well as defense. As you can see, they're not really making firm advancements. The rest of Voin Donkey is just holding into that position because they know that if AZ pushes out, it is going to be very, very, very easy picking for them. So AZ Slumber are also smart enough not to over-aggress, because right now, choking that space is just about as good enough, because eventually, no matter what, Voin Donkey's got to leave this area, right? So long as they hold over in the northern section, theoretically, there's no place that Voin Donkey could avoid meeting up with the rest of AZ's firepower later on.
I mean, it's still too early for a fight anyway. I mean, we're just at stage 1 here, so we do understand why, teams are not feeling pressured at the moment to even move forward or maybe even leave the compound. But just so you know where the teams are actually situated, it's the same thing for 4Tribes. I mean, they are manning the end of the bridge here from the main peninsula. They are trying to check if APG is going to decide to actually pass through. And that's a bridge camping that can happen around south area of the zone. But they could potentially be having an altercation as well up against Voin and AZ Slumber. But as for Boom Esports, BTR, they're also close to one another. Even ASI8 and T2K over to the top. Tribe RMAC has taken control of south of Jorgapul, but Talon Esports might be coming from the north side.
Yeah, I think that over in North is definitely interesting because T2K is hoping to hold off the rest of ASI8. And it is not the safest town to play from when you're inside of 70 because there's just a lot of all these open grounds from the valleys. So we'll have to see how that one plays out. BTR typical start by the apartments as well as the southern side of Rozak. Boom Esports, they're not really making too far a move. They are actually sending a couple of members over on North Point just to see if there's going to be any form of rotations coming into the area. Where ASI8, they've been playing very carefully. They heard those shots coming in from around those corner. So that serves as a little bit of a decoy. You will kind of want to puffer fish and draw the attention of these members before they come in for those flank attacks. And we'll have to see. Baby. Well, it's funny to call it Baby because we know this guy is a absolutely alpha male when it comes down to brawling with other guys out there.
He's a boss baby. Yeah, let's
Baby
put it
boss.
that way. He's the one that's been calling the shots, for the team. But anyway, okay. Getting back into the action. Actually, there is no action that is happening at the moment, between all of the teams here. We do see Voin Donkey, however, and they're keeping a close eye onto the boys of AZ at the moment. But just like what we said, there's no hard push. But Gakor obviously getting ready to throw a punch up against someone. There goes the spray. And yeah, I mean, considering the distance, I don't think that's even going to make a dent or anything. But Voin Donkey surely knows that perhaps, it's time for them to move as well.
And they can actually try to wiggle a little bit more room until they find that form of first knock. It's just a little bit calm before the storm. Kajaya spots out a vehicle as a plan C option to build out of the city. While the rest of T2K, they're so patient. They know that ASI-8 eventually will have to leave. And for most part, stage 1, the damage of the zone is rather tankable. So they're willing to fully commit to this one since Kajaya is locked into position. Choto has already spotted his area though. So I think this is rather interesting because when push comes to shove, I think these guys will just go at it full force. So over the back, Casanova as well as Baby will just work in tandem. It's a little calm and serene for the moment as we will eventually see who kind of gives way, or would this just be, you know, a truce between the two? Maybe kind of lost his patience to say, you know what, let's draw back into a different position and perhaps look for better alternatives.
Perhaps. But I do wonder though, and this is completely off subject. Baby and Casanova from ASI, do you think they chose that name because they're lover boys?
I definitely think so. I mean, these are good-looking chaps. I'm pretty sure there's a heap of fans lining up to see if, you know, they can get a good fade off of that. Or if they're already taken, then I'm sorry to say, then maybe better luck
You
next
in
time.
line.
I'm not into all these gossip news on who's dating who, but I don't know. Shoot your shot. Go to the DMs. You'll find out one way or another. If they're taken, I don't know. Axel though, he just drove into a trap set by Sem9, and finally we have ourselves a first blood.
That's a bad slide into the DMs over here. I mean, he probably wasn't expecting that one to happen, but yeah, Sem9 obviously capitalized on that information, and I guess that was a little reckless from Talon Esports part, but then again, they are aware. Okay, there is a team in that compound, so I do wonder if they're already discussing if they're gonna go crash this compound and maybe avenge their fallen comrade. But coming off the kill feed here, Contra, it's 4th Rives right now having an exchange with the one and only D-Saber. Got T24 OP switching his gun to an S12K. Here comes the shotgun. Can he make it? Unfortunately, high ground advantage took the win for D-Saber.
Oh man, D-Saber just had a very strong front line out there to hold them out. TTK unfortunate enough on their timings, and this is where BTR raid on their parade again! Just like how they did in the last round, this time they will have Optimus just drawing blood. 2 members knocked down already, and just like that, with a snap of a finger, you blink and you miss. DX crash out for the second time, coming to the hands of BTR again.
Oh no, BTR right now getting a lot of bullets coming from Team Flash. We got one of them currently knocked down on the ground. Make that 2, make that 3. Team Flash seems to be winning this fight. Optimus right now bleeding out there in the open. We got Zayus with a heavy spray. Unfortunately, it did not connect, and it looks like BTR will be surviving this. But hey, I mean, they already lost some of their brothers.
Yep, and knocked down by CD Alliance as well. So this area down the southern terrain is just locked with teams, and Team Flash was perfect on their execution. They came in a little late, but perfectly on time to really pick up these members of BTR. And BTR, they're currently stuck inside of the garage with nowhere else to go. Cole 966 already having himself stuck in between the buggy, and there's just nowhere that he could just escape the wrap of Refus, who could easily knock him out of the park. So that's one for the side of APG, and a whole lot more to go, I do assume.
And Pachinki's completely unoccupied at the moment, so that's interesting. Boomy Esports, as well as ASI-8, and even the boys of T2K are already getting ready to be inside the zone over here, so perhaps we can see a team collide up against each other, but we'll just have to wait and see. We got teams flocking around the middle part of the zone here. Coming off the kill feed, it's Voindunky and AZ right now having a trade-off somewhere out there. And I feel like one of the team already lost a member over here.
Yeah, to your point that you mentioned that Pochinki is empty, I was thinking, what if the Savior were to hold a little bit longer, then perhaps they wouldn't succumb to all that full-blown fight where they're just being overpowered by all these teams, traversing across, making that pit stop. And take a look at this, MVKE is the big winner in the new circle, as all these teams are now moving over on the south side, and that's going to be another member coming from Voindunky being caught out. AZ Slumber on the pickoff, as they're already rolling the chart down to only 1 HP left. And the rest of the field, Voindunky hoping to actually nail some numbers down, but it's going to be some bait and switch coming for AZ Slumber, drawing their attention while they're trying to have a setup coming from Gachi right down under. Instead, he got met by the grenade, cooked perfectly by the potato.
Yeah, AZ getting blasted away here from Voindunky. Potato always so accurate with those shots, with those nades. Voindunky gaining a little bit of an advantage up against the opposition. And AZ, I do wonder what they're going to do in this situation. But Gakor, obviously, was one of the casualties for the side of Voindunky. Potato popping off those smokes here to conceal their exact location. They need to finish this guy off to not get so much information, from Voindunky.
Yeah, Asmi is on the lookout, and perhaps there is going to be drawing away from this compound. When Potato is going to be crashing right into the middle, though, so this kind of caused a little bit of stir. As AZ, they want to ideally save their fallen comrade, but too little, too late. He's already bleeding out dry. So Mochi is going to play a pivotal role right now to see if he can spot out Asmi. Asmi, he's pretty much safe inside the shack. So it is a little bit of a tight situation. And keep in mind, we have not seen Zeta because he's on the far left-hand side of the high ground hill. So he still gets to get a say on whether if AZ gets to push or not.
Okay, here we go. Voindunky is not letting go of AZ, obviously. They're just really waiting for them to come out of hiding, and if they're brave enough to actually go for the push. But anyway, is I8 still a complete squad? They're doing great so far up north, together with Boom Esports and BTR. From behind, they might have an altercation up against Team Flash, but of course, we'll just have to wait and see. But as for the other teams here, we got Vikings also in the middle, and they could potentially clash with the Alpha Gaming and even Selcom DJ Alliance. But from the kill feed, we got a confirmation Voindunky right now with the push up against AZ, and it looks like they're about to close this business down.
Yep. I don't think there's much of a business to begin with for the rest of AZ Slumber. They're just hoping to survive. They're still in the zone, but it's only down to Asmi left. Meanwhile, Talon's coming in from the back, so this could cause a little bit of stir between these three teams over onto the south side. Voindunky's got to keep an eye out for that. Oh, perfect dodge for the grenade. It does get a chunk over onto Potato, and now he's trying to run free from all these tosses at the very same time. Zeta now primes that grenade, buying a little bit more time for Potato to recover his health bars, and now Zeta's got the second nade coming. Oh, he will surf out around, and he's just playing Ring Around Rosie, and he got a shot on the Potato!
Oh man, here we go. Zeta right now making a move, but couldn't hit his target. We got Potato knocked down on the ground hard. 3 points in the bag now for Voindunky, and they're coming after, of course, this last remaining player coming from AZ Slumber, and they are going to be put to sleep. 11 teams remaining for stage 4 over here. We got 2 minutes on the clock. We got Ajaya as well taking a big hit. Tops from Team Flash down on the ground. Oh, there's a lot of simultaneous trade-offs happening inside Erangel for stage 4.
Yeah, it's a sprint away from the zone right now. It's going to hurt a whole lot more. TPK has got no other option but to defend up the remaining members of 7-9. It's going to be the last stand for Mimi. He does get the knock. Oh, beautiful work on that final tap of the barrel. And now he's going to be able to find a vehicle to try to bail out the situation. Meanwhile, Doc clears out the room, finds another member of the side of Team Flash. APG onto 3 points. So far, looking very clean. 4 members still intact. And they got free reigns over onto the Gatka field at the very same time. This is a great play for Alpha Game.
Okay. I mean, Team Flash is so far away from Alpha Gaming, though. So I'm curious what happened and how Team Flash was able to knock down at least one player from APG. But APG continues on, of course, to survive the game. They're pretty close with Vikings. So I'm wondering why, that clash hasn't started just yet. But perhaps because, both of the teams here are still inside the zone, so maybe we just need for the circle to shift away. Then perhaps that could pave the way for these two teams to actually fight. But in the meantime, we're looking at ASI 8, and they're pretty close to Sem 9 and Team Flash. And you know what? Tribe Aeromacy might be joining the mix as well.
Yeah, it's just going to be a grand cluster right now. ASI 8 trying to draw a little bit more of that pressure away, while Sem 9 having might try to fend him off, but he got caught out from an alternate angle, and that's coming from AST instead. Strake's perfect timing on that tap, and now that kind of opens up a little bit more of that space. Sem 9, they're only down to 2 members left, and they could not even afford to go into save view high.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think, we're just waiting for Sem 9 to get executed at this point. But let's see if they can still manage to counter. I mean, Yumeko's been pretty accurate with the shots as well. And, 2 is still a number over here. We're already at stage 4, and it's crucial time for most of the teams here. And the important thing is to just not give in to pressure. And so far, ASD still on a 2-2 split over here. Tricks coming back to the rest of the team here. They're looking at Talon Esports, perhaps, but the circle shifted away. It went all the way to the eastern part of the map here together with APG and Vikings. So this is going to be an interesting rotation coming from ASI and Team Flash.
The whole time, MVK didn't even need to move. They were in that check for more than 5 minutes already. And that is going to be the sweet spot everyone wants to fight for. So eventually, you will expect Alpha Gaming to be fighting into the compound eventually. So we'll have to see if that's going to be ringing true, while the rest of Team Flash are going for those open picking through the fields. Gets a member of ASI 8. Win so far, looking phenomenal, and it's the Gante that actually draws in the shot. So now that they are pretty much over onto their knees, Win tries to find something in return, but instead caught out Sem 9 in the open.
Oh man, here we go. Sem 9 taking in a lot of punishment coming from Team Flash. Domination for Team Flash here, and Sem 9 got eliminated with 2 points in the pocket. 9 teams remaining. We got Gante back on the screen here for Tribe Aeromacy, but you know what? It was Trix who was able to get all of those points, for the team and to continue to rack up some more. I mean, I'm not even sure if this is the best spot right now for Tribe Aeromacy, but then again, they're trying to handle business here like pros. We got a player getting knocked down on the side of ASI 8, and Tribe Aeromacy continues to apply pressure on both ASI 8 and Team Flash.
And Rick is trying to close the gap right now. He wants to send a grenade into that shack. And this could be the one to settle it all up against the rest of Team Flash. They're running for their lives, barely having any firm cover. That nade barely hitting over onto Bose. And he's got to find a way to defend himself. Not so much when he's inside the smoke, though. Quickly be eliminated by the side of Gante, and now it's only one member left. The side of Team Flash can win it all outrageously. Doesn't seem to be the case for now. ASI goes down. Another nade follows true. And I don't think that there's a way out for Win as well, because he's also getting shot out of nowhere into the smoke. AST, they're absolutely dominating in the open fields.
Yep, and it looks like Tribe Aeromacy is testing the Big Bang Theory by throwing a lot of nades up against the opposition and was able to score a point. Back to Alpha Gaming, everyone. We've seen them again with a low-key personality for this game. They haven't been really engaging during the first few zones over here, but it's a different story at the moment as we see them doing a little bit of spray up against Vikings. And now we're back to Boom Esports. 2 casualties for this team. So it's Pondbit also getting knocked down on the ground. So are they in trouble right now?
I'm not too sure if they fully are, but Yummy's angle is just insane on how he actually gets a glimpse onto those members of APG. while they're also doing exactly the same. Zyle inside of the grass, trading back and forth while they're not really getting all too much in return. MVKE, they're still locked and loaded inside of the only compound in the zone. It's going to get updated in a quick bit. Where's it going to go? Still within the zone for MVKE. Now, what's going to happen here is teams are going to be looking to challenge MVKE eventually.
All right, here we go. At least we are experiencing a slowdown, you know, a truce happening between all of the teams that survived and still alive here for stage number 6. We're not hearing any gunshots. You know, at this point, you know, everyone is extracting information as to where their enemies will be coming from. Is this a safe spot? Is this the right location? Are we going to go in for the kills right now? That's just, you know, one of the things that the teams are probably considering at the moment. Alpha Gaming, right now, they do have a visual up against Vikings. Obviously, Vikings holding onto a prime location over here. And APG, they're deciding, hey, maybe this is a great spot for us. So are they going to crash this one?
Yeah, they also spot out the lines at the very same time, so they don't really have to go do much against Vikings until much later on. But here comes the crash! Tribe Aramisi! They just storm the gates and clears out the wolf pack. Boom, Esports goes down on 6th spot. I thought Yummy's been doing so well, but that decision-making coming from AST was absolutely golden. They get to go on a full reset, so they still have 4 members strong.
Yep, Tribe brought down the pain up against Boom just a while ago, and now we're looking at the final 5 teams here for stage 6. And again, we got the Vikings at the top of the chart here with 29% chance of bagging the chicken dinner, followed by APG. We got AST, Celcom DJ Alliance, and Talon Esports. So this is a 4v4, v3, v2, v2.
Yep, we're gonna slowly see those numbers dwindle down with Tins just securing 1 over on the outskirts, banging 1 out from the side of AST. Only down to 2 members left. Kasim, aka Jimmy OP, so far looking pretty easy from the top side of the hill. MVKE remains to be the most stacked amongst the many, and you could arguably say APG is pretty much the same, but they're already looking at one. Here comes the full swing coming in from Pacific once again. JBOP looking for a little something alongside with Bumboy, but he crashes out as they just storm directly in the center, and they have to pay the price up against APG.
Well, we have been waiting for APG to pop off, and that was such a great display of skills being set out by Alpha Gaming. So then again, Vikings being patient, you know, they really don't have to move anywhere else. They just have to wait for Tribe RMAC to come knocking down the door. Same thing goes for APG. But then again, Superman with an awesome shot right there, directly putting down 1 member of APG.
Yeah, the Vikings, they could look to extend their wings later on if they have already cleared out some of the open fields. As a matter of fact, with these current updates, MVKE, they should still have certain portions of their compound to still be within the next zone. And if it does not, then it will be a little bit tougher for the rest of them. But the good news is all of the compounds are intact. So this is just daunting. I believe that there's just going to be a hard time for everybody else, except for APG, to actually challenge for the title right now. Until now, out in the open, going to be quick taps coming from the side of Zio, but he's not going to be finding the final bullet to get the knock done. So Tribe Ermusi still in a little bit of pickle. Same could be said about Talon Esports.
Oh, Vikings, they know they have this one in the bag. They just have to be patient. They just have to play their cards right. Alpha Gaming getting ready to charge in, getting ready to snag away this compound from Vikings. Here comes the challenge. We got Dog cooking up a nade here, trying to put down 1T and Tins. We got Refus about to answer back. We got Trang as well, trying to keep them at bay, but nobody's getting knocked down just yet. 1T just pretty calm at this point, waiting for Refus, and here comes the attack. He has the element of surprise, but missed to actually shut him down. Missed opportunity right there from 1T.
It could have actually been so much if he actually get that knocked down. But Alpha Gaming, they were relentless. They will continue to push up ahead. This allows the rest of the teams to get into the zone because MVKE is currently defending their compounds. They have to give way to APG to secure half of these locations. Riff is now taking charge, but he's already walking through a couple of Molotovs tossed right inside of the compound. And now MVK got the box in. He got the knock. It's 2. And now it's only down to Rufus.
Oh man, this is getting spicy. Vikings right now dominating with 5 points. Vikings, Tribe, RAC, Talon, final 3 teams here in Erangel. Looking to get that chicken dinner. We got Yoru on bended knees at the moment, courtesy of Tribe. Oh man, that's a confirmation. Talon Esports losing a member over here, down to their last one. Again, this is an exchange between Vikings and Tribe. RAC at the moment. Superman already been taken out of the equation. We got Tribe answering back with a couple of nades here. 1T about to pop off as well. Trang popping off those smokes. Who's going to be winning the fight?
Well, there's still numbers advantage for the side of Vikings, but Superman kind of gave his life away when he drove in with that buggy. So they will go on and reset. There's still that one member left from the side of Talent Esports. I believe he could be Achul or somebody else. So he's going to wait for a little while longer while Gantes is on the lookout to deny the entry point for Talent Esports. So further confirmation, it is definitely Achul to be the final member of Talent Esports. Kins, when's he gonna activate? He does have a grenade, and speaking of which, perfect lob onto Zaidi, as he will be able to land that final blow, and it's gonna be a confident push coming out of Vikings to store the gates, and now make it look like it's Ragnarok.
From the top, make it drop. Let's see if Tribe RAC can actually follow through. Guillante with an amazing shutdown for the DVS. Here comes another one. Vikings right now in big trouble, and that is all because of Guillante. Tribe RAC survived the clash, and we're looking at a Mexican standoff happening right now with one player each to rep up their team.
Achul, he finds the alternate angle, he takes down 1T instead. It's between Talon and ASC's very own Gante. Could this be the clutch of the century right now? Nates now toss at each other. Plenty of resources for AST to restock upon those fallen members of MVKE. Another one lob over the back does not connect over onto Achul. Achul wants to draw him out. They could just buy time. Wait for Circle 9 to appear, and then it will be down to this final 1v1. It connects, and it's Achul to secure it. A first chicken dinner for Talent Esports. Bring one home for Indonesia.
That was a curveball right there coming from Achul. Talon Esports getting the victory, getting the job done up against Tribe RAC. But that was still quite an impressive showdown between these two teams. You know, I always thought that Tribe's definitely going to be the one to get it. But that was such a surprise right now coming from Talon Esports, dominating game number 3. And I want some more, Contra.
Oh, that was some spicy stuff. Yet again, another gruesome 1v1v1 situation. The last we saw, Homeboys take it back in Miramar and down to the solo bolo missions. Talent Esports spread their wings and have been able to really land a big chicken dinner home. So that being said, Achul, his timing was immaculate. But he really got to thank Gante, right? Because if not for Gante taking out MVKE, this fight easily could have been MVKE's favor.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. I mean, Giante definitely was the knight in shining armor, you know, for the side of Tribe. And I'm just really happy because everyone's playing extra today. And this is what we came for, you know, this is what we want to always see coming from our favorite teams, you know, just to give us a little bit of a show, you know, to look forward to. And Talent Esports, man, they're stepping up. And we do love it, you know, the action coming from Talon as well. So hopefully they can maintain this pace. Again, we're done with the third match this evening, and we're already halfway through. Amazing.
Yeah, it was great to see Talon back in their prime form as well. Like, game 1 for them back in Miramar was a little rough, but they recovered so quickly when it comes down to playing out inside Erangel. And you saw, despite the odds, they were one of those playing from the far end of the fields in order to make this cut. AST, they were doing exactly the same. They took that opportunity when MVKE and APG, they got themselves a little bit busy inside of town. So these teams, they took their sweet chance, moved deeper into the field, infiltrated, and by the end of all of that compound was just a little bit of bait for everybody else to play in.
And I feel like, APG waited too long. I mean, they could have had the opportunity to perhaps flush out the Vikings from that compound, but I guess it was a little too late for them to decide that, okay, maybe it's now time for them to evacuate the compound, and because everyone's already headed towards that same direction. So I guess that's where the mishap actually started. But looking at the head-to-head here, Tribe Air Macy versus Talon Esports, damage output, elimination, it's all favoring Tribe Air Macy. I mean, numbers don't lie.
Yeah, I mean, they've definitely worked really hard to really secure so many takedowns from the outskirts, and especially impressive when you had Gante clutching that final hour up against those members of, MVKE, which supposedly with those numbers, you could just overwhelm Gante, but he is just built different. His damage output, absolutely off the charts.
And again, everyone's updated with all the drama that's been happening between Tribe and, of course, DRS. It was an absolute top-notch performance that we've seen so far in the PMNC. Tribe maintaining their aggression, all throughout the playoffs. Day one and day number 2 of the grand finals. I guess during the third day, that's when they started kind of falling off from glory. Don't exactly know what happened, but again, Tribe Air Macy still showing up right now, which is a perfect. Gyante at top 1 here for the performance. So it's a great thing to know that Tribe Air Macy still is up for any challenge there is to come along the way.
True enough, and right now with a quick update onto the scorelines, AST, well, you predicted them to win out the chicken dinner. Despite them not winning out, they're still the best performer in the map with a total of 17 points. Talent Esports have been the one to steal the show by the tail end with Achille's brilliance to secure that chicken dinner home. And of course, Alpha Gaming and GN Vikings Esports, they were both in the poised position for the most part of this matchup. So they do walk away with those double-digit returns by the end of it. Boom Esports remaining consistent with 7 points. Cellcom Digit Lines finding their way back on track with a total of 8. Whereas the rest of the field having decent exchanges. At least nobody walks away with nothing so far.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I agree with that one. I'm waiting to see, of course, Fourth Thrives popping off as well. This is not the usual gameplay we see from Falak and the rest of the team here. And also for the side of Tribe, once again, Rig has been a perfect addition to the roster. He's been blending out quite well. He's definitely complementing the play for Tribe Air Macy, the synergy, the chemistry, everything. So hopefully they could bounce back, from that fight that they've had during the PMNC. But T2K, this is a team I'm also looking at as well. I mean, they're a little bit down in the leaderboards from the PMNC, but for Ruthless, perhaps, we can see them dominate. We're waiting for them to do something about it.
Yeah, well, we got a quick update on the overall rankings. APG, with their consistency, they now surge up 3 spots to take number 2. Boom Esports, rather consistent, holds on to that number 1 spot. While AST, with this big, massive run, they are now number 4. A 16 placement surge coming from AST is just outstanding. Same goes to MVKE, that's moved into the top 4. So the rest of the field catching up at the very same time. Team Flash, Boing Donkey doing much better than they did before, now moves into the top 16 together alongside with Cellcom Digi Alliance. So there is still a whole lot more work to be done here, as some of these teams may not have found their footing just yet, but of course we'll let them settle in.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the beginning. It's just day number 1 of the playoffs over here. And I believe we do have 16 teams that will get the golden ticket to play for the grand finals. So I guess this is, like an easy stage for now for most, if not all. Coming to the third page, rather, you can see Todak. Hora, 52 VPE, 4 Thrives, ASI at M9, even Alter Ego Errors. I mean, these are giants, you know, in the competitive scene. So I'm pretty sure that they're going to do something about it. Even if they don't exactly super dominate just yet. But we do expect some clutches to happen, you know, coming from this monster teams. And we'll just have to wait, you know.
Yeah, I mean, they're just sleeping giants for now. Once they're awakened, you know, they're about to stomp some numbers out there. So that's it. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll bring you more PUBG mobile action.
Step into the ring. Let's go. Step into the ring. Step into the ring. Step into the ring. Step into the ring.
Lights out. I got feeling, but I can't shout. I got reasons, but I'm all out. No rest for the weekend. Give me what I want. Never get enough. Never giving up. Give me what I want.
Welcome back once again to the Ruthless Invitational Showdown. This is another brand new iteration with a lot of individual prowess to kick off our day one. I mean, Andy, I think we're seeing a lot of brilliant play so far. Initially, back in game 2, it was Tai Long from Homeboys, and this time it is none other than Talon's very own Achul to take home a chicken dinner by himself. And yeah, they almost clutch it too. It was a 50-50 in that regards, but AST, they walk away with those hefty amount of points.
Oh, for sure. Everyone is on a different energy, to be honest. Everyone is in kill mode, you know, super aggressive. That makes us shiver. Savage game style as promised. But then again, we're done with 3 matches and we still have 3 more to go. And we're looking at groups A and B over here to have that fight. So it's back to Boom Esports, Voin, Sem9, Celcom DJ Alliance, Alpha, Vikings, 4 Thrive, Stripe, RMAC. But we are welcoming back Homeboys. They just won, or they won. One of the teams that won a chicken dinner for today.
Yeah, they are looking so good right now. And between Group A as well as Group B, I can't help but to take a look at Boom Esports. They've been so consistent. Not the flashiest of plays thus far, but they are definitely showing up when it matters the most. I think that moving into this round of Miramar, they should be keeping that streak up in the steady. So my vote goes on to Boom Esports.
Okay. Well, I'm waiting for Falak and Noki to pop off, so I'm gonna go take my chance with Four Thrives this time.
Okay, good call, good call. I always love watching them play inside Miramar. They're always super explosive when given the chance to. Production, I think like you definitely have a lot of great picks out there, but so far today we got no luck on our side. Our RQ is going to be their choice, and for very good reasons, right? You saw RQ; they've been really racking those big numbers back in our previous Miramar.
Oh, you know what? RQ has been a staple name in the Ruthless community, and I'm just really waiting for them to always have that explosive gameplay. They're very on point with their rotations, with how they pick their angles. I mean, their Peiko has proven himself time and time and again that, he's also a force to be reckoned with. He's a formidable player, so definitely RQ is a tough competitor for the Ruthless Invitational Showdown.
Yeah, that being said, though, you guys could also drop in your predictions right now before we get things underway. Last round, I kind of had a hunch for Talon, but even despite so, I was kind of second guessing myself. Maybe I shouldn't have, because anything could have possibly happened. Like, even if you were one man standing, we saw in the last Miramar, and last game just goes to prove that, hey, today solo bolo is the way.
Honestly, I wasn't really expecting that much, to start day number one of the playoffs. But then again, teams are proving us wrong. It looks to me like, everyone's in the mood to really show something great, for the fans out there. Tribe Air Macy continues to, of course, give us something to look forward to. And I guess, we're just waiting, for those teams that are a part of the second page, perhaps. I mean, Alter Ego Eras. This is also one team that knows how to put up a good show,
Alter Ego Aries, I think like if they're ready to be activated, then great. We get to see, Rosemary go on the tear. But so far, I mean, they've only got 1 point. So if they really want to go pedal to the metal right now, I think it's about the right time to do so, since it's been pretty much a halfway mark already into day one. So I think like even with a few extra days left, you don't really want to live things down to the final 2 days, right? So they gotta just do something about that. It's not only them. Vampire Esports, they also haven't fully waken up just yet. This is another team that I want to see really cause a sandstorm here in Miramar.
And here we go. The wait is finally over, ladies and gents. We're back in the barren desert of Miramar. And you know what? APG, I do wonder if we're going to be getting the champion mindset at the moment, for this tournament. I mean, APG, there was a lot of pressure onto their team just because, everyone's considering them to be the dream team, during the PMWC. And there was a lot of, talk whether or not they're going to dominate, but they were able to get the second place. How do you think, the play style that Doc actually kind of detached himself towards the latter stages of the match there during the EWC?
Well, I think like when you're playing such a grand stage, sometimes the pressure does get up to you for a little bit, and it is what it is, right? Like sometimes like there's just overwhelming pressure coming in from all ends where you need to ensure those chicken dinners in the Smash Roll format, and once you see those numbers dwindle down, it gets demoralizing that, hey, my chances are getting slimmer and slimmer. So sometimes they need to do something maybe out of the usual books in order to achieve those kind of results. But then again, you take a look at all these other teams from the rest of the regions. Arguably, you can say, yeah, APG is a dream team, but same could be said about YG. They were, part of the Genesis Esports roster, and now reunited under the YG banner in a grand fashion. That's a Myanmar dream team. And then you look at the rest of the field. You also have dream teams coming in from Vietnam with the former DX and so many more. So it's kind of hard to really figure out which is exactly the best iteration. Even Four Tribes have definitely got a great run in the EWC. I'm hoping that they show a little bit more of that today.
I guess it all boils down, of course, in getting all of those top placements in a lot of official tournaments. But Boom Esports, not the best way to start the game because one of them already knocked down on the ground. They'll make that two. We got Pawnbit over here, but Helton is doing a massive spray with an M249. Yami's gonna get picked up definitely by his teammate over here, but Boom Esports obviously in a pickle here. They are at a disadvantage up against 52, and since we already have a lot of players down onto the side of Boom, this now paves the way for 52 to actually go in for a push.
Yeah, very unfortunate. They failed to move up as well. Whereas 52, they were well spread out. They managed to single out their targets, 2 members down, and make it done. What an explosive start for 52 Esports of Malaysia. Well, I don't mean to put the caster's curse, but Boom Esports, they could not even answer back.
Oh man, that is such a bold statement right there. But let's see if they can do a strong comeback later on. But yeah, they were the first one to be taken out back to the lobby here for Miramar. But anyway, getting back into the story, Sem9, still a complete squad over here. They are over at North Side. I guess they're close with Horror Esports as well. Perhaps they could even meet, Alter Ego Era since they're also sticking to the north side edge of the circle. But in the meantime, we're looking at Tribe Era Macy, and I'm just trying to find where they are at the moment. So perhaps they are over to the south side as well, inside the zone. This time, also within proximity with Voin.
Yeah, this is a little too close for comfort, especially when you're starting off the game in such a manner. Voin Donkey got themselves a couple of spots where they could just easily trap out those members of AST. So I think that Zio kind of knows this, which is why he's kind of running away from the crosshairs of Mochi, because he's hoping to grab that vehicle early on. But rather unfortunate, he find himself walking on foot instead. So Voin Donkey, they could either leave him be and continue to traverse the rest of the grounds, get some more added loot, because Potato is not fully stacked up yet. He's only got like S12K in his hands. For most part, I think like at the very least, AST, they are pretty much safe within the zone. They don't really have to worry too much. They can just go back into the island over the south, get themselves looted up, and then rejoin. Take a look at Sem9 though. They're so far away. And I believe there's also another team not too far off. And I wonder who exactly could that be that they're facing off with, because even Homeboys, they're not too far away. So it could get a little bit more tense, especially towards the zone where everyone's going up against Team Secret. You have Alter Ego crossing over. You have MVKE doing exactly the same. So we might see more of these early fights here in stage 1.
Well, Sky, his weak arms are heavy. Well, he's being surrounded by Sem9 at the moment, but he is definitely communicating with the rest of Horror Esports like, hey, bros. I mean, I'm not even sure if I'm going to go into a fight over here, but I am definitely outnumbered. And speaking of fight, it's Tribe right now going head-to-head with Voin. We got one player already facing the floor, and it's Rig who was able to bag that one. So obviously, leverage-wise, I think it goes to Tribe.
Oh, wow. That's some perfect strikes. That's 2 members down for the count from the side of Voin Donkey. And it's a rough start, considering that Voin Donkey initially have a little bit of those leads. And AST, the moment that they stocked up inside the island, they took the fight upon Voin Donkey. And now Potato tries to traverse across. Zio has been on the watch for the longest time. He's got a Mini 14 as well. Just waiting for the right angles, but Potato, he's scaling higher and higher towards the hilltop, so not going to be an easy task for them to instantly pick them off. So Voin Donkey should be able to stay intact for the moment. Well, Krypton, he's going up against 52. Seems like 52 couldn't catch a break. And just like that, that's 2 members out.
Is this it? Is Alter Ego Ares beginning to pick up the pace? Oh, that could be interesting. But yeah, I mean, they put down a couple players from the side of 52 Esports. I think that was Rosemary getting the points done. Now, Vampire Esports, they're inside a building over here down in Los Leones, and they might be having an exchange up against Celcom DG Alliance and maybe even Vikings. I mean, Alpha Gaming is also around Los Leones part. I mean, this is the focal point right now for the circle.
True enough. I don't think that CD Alliance will need to fully commit into any form of altercations up against Vampire Esports. They could just hold Los Leones and see where the rest of the zone would go on the upcoming phases. This is still stage 1. They could just take their sweet time. RQ are going for a decision to just hold around the Puerto Paraiso sector, and by doing so, they could also send maybe a scout into the edges of Los Leones to quickly check things out. Look at the previous feed. I do believe it was Krypton that did secure the points for the side of Alter Ego. Speaking of securing points, though not looking to get some of their own.
Lots of gunshots, that is for sure. We got Todak right now going for a reposition. They might go up against APG, however. And okay, we got Kenny boarding out of his vehicle over here, trying to get some information. I believe that was Noki, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I mean, Void Donkey obviously getting some damage done as well. Machi obviously needed to recover from that attack. But anyway, I think this push will be, I think it's going to happen right now.
Ooh, pretty much unavoidable for the moment. A full gate crash coming from the side of Toad Out now. Going up against the rest of Void Donkey. They are weakened up since ASTM